of year. Now, on the date, the 27th of Adar, Chav Zayin Adar, marks the Hilula of a very famous Yemenite rabbi, Kabbalist. His name was Rabbi Haim Sinwani Z'tl. He was actually born in English year 1897, to be precise, the 5th of October, and he passed away on the 26th of March in English year 1979, naturally the 27th of Adar. He was close to around 80 years of age at the time he passed away. He would go on to become a great judge, a דיין, one of the famous Kabbalists from Yemen, head of Jewish court, and various other, let's say, positions, a huge מקובל and a great Torah scholar of his time. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, he actually came from very great rabbinic auspices. I believe his father's name was Rabbi Xogharia. It's actually interesting. The name Yichya was a very common name in Yemen, especially there were various different rabbonim, which we mentioned about on various occasions, that had the name Yichya. His mother's name was Marat Yaman, and it's very interesting. When he was just at a very, very young age, it was reported over that his mother would bring the cradle with him being inside of it towards the walls of the Bet Midrash in himself, the study hall, to absorb, let's say, the words of Torah of itself. I believe he was born in the Sanwan district in Yemen. That was a place where he was actually born. That was a prominent Torah neighborhood. It happened to be on an Erev Yom Kippur, I believe. And he would learn under the auspices of his father in, I think, the area of Jabal Tsabar, respectively, over there. He would be, at 17 years of age, he would receive rabbinic ordination, reported from Rav Shlomo ben Yosef Tabib, and would learn with him Kabbalah over there. And various different, he would learn the teachings of the Ariya Kadosh, Rabbi Luri Ashkenazi, one of the famous rabbis from Tzfat, especially during the 16th century, respectively. And also he would learn under auspices of Rabbi Ya'ish Musa Korin. I think this was from the villages of the Mekubalim, the Kabbalists, respectively. Very, very great place in of itself. And much more can be stated within regards to that. So it's his, just to speak just a bit more about it, I believe also he had a phenomenal memory. It was reported over brilliant memory, great qualities with regards to learning, absorbing the words of the Torah, and very much after his father also ordained him to rabbinate, he would study in the yeshiva in the town of Jabal Sabar, and I think in another area called Miut Sara over there, and would study day and night in yeshiva, would write various different of the Torah novels that he would actually learn or study in the margins of the books or on individual pages also, and was praying a lot. He prayed to get the emet of the Torah in of itself, and just to refine the midot at such a young age. At that point in time, it's reported over he would abstain from the worldly pleasures, and he was content with a little, over there. At the age of 15, it was reported over he would start studying the book of the Zohar. And it's reported over that one night Rav Shimon Bar Yochai and Rav Elazar appeared to him in a dream and interpreted, let's say, one of the teachings or the words in the book of the Zohar. He was 18 years of age, reported over, when he got married, and he was learning Torah diligently the whole time. And I think under his teacher's request to appoint him as a member of the Bet Din, he would refuse at that stage in time, because I think he wanted to solely concentrate on studying Torah just the entire time, studying. And I believe after his teachers had passed away, Rav David Ya'ish Haddad and Rav Shlomo ben Yosef Tabib, who we mentioned about before, he was then at that point in time go on to serve as, I believe, the Rosh Bet Din, the head of the Jewish court over there in Sanwan, and various different surrounding areas in of itself, including Damji, Haraf Al, Hijah, Miyutsara, and Murba, and several other places also. He was known to be an expert with regards to the entire encompassment of the Shas, Code of Jewish Law, the Shulchan Aruch, respectively, with all the commentaries and the various books, and the books of the Rishonim and the Achronim. And he knew by heart, reported over, the Siddur of the Rashash, the famous Rabbi Rav Shirabi, who we've spoken about on various occasions before. That we actually say Rashash HaKadosh. That's how great he was. And the books of the famous Rabbi Haim Vital, the Talmid of the Ariya Kodesh, who we've mentioned about before. And he would memorize many of the teachings in his mind. He was able, many questions, She'elot, was sent to him from all over the at various parts, especially of Yemen, and he would actually write the teshuvot, the answers respectively, and various different Torah hidushim. He would go from village to towns to encourage mitchazek, the people at that point in time, or help people with in regards to various different religion matters. He would, I think, educate people that would perform kashrut slaughter, shochetz, over there, with regards to the dinim, to strengthen them within regards to laws, within regards to that, and would educate over there. And it was a shochet, it was a bodek in of itself, and he really, really wanted to make sure that the boundaries within regards to religion, within regards to Torah and mitzvot, was at a very high level. He was known to motivate the various different sages of his generation, and to push, let's say, Abeirot away, to really bring people close. Within regards to, he worked also within regards to promoting Shalom Bayit, it was reported over. And I believe he would meet with various different, let's say, non-Jewish rulers at that point in time. And he really tried to combat anti-Semitism. This was in these various different villages in Yemen, respectively. He would speak to them, try to improve, like, at that point in time in Yemen, as we've mentioned on various occasions before, especially in the early 1900s, there was huge anti-Semitism, as we've spoken about on various occasions before, which I recommend you to watch other videos of the great Yemenite rabbis. So he would really convince the different rulers or different people in key positions to stay away from that. It was reported over he would sleep only a few hours a night, and spend much of the night time, have a candle by the side. He could write various different Torah thoughts, innovations that was revealed to him, and at a very high level in of itself, and would diligently study all throughout the night. He wrote his piyutim in various different languages, reported over in Aramaic, in Hebrew, and in Arabic also. He wrote various different lamentations with regards to the Churban Bet HaMikdash, the destruction of the temple, and would, as we said before, was hugely toiling in Torah the whole time. Now, he would visit the Kivrei Tzadikim, the graves of the righteous rabbis over there. It's reported over there he would even go barefoot, and the famous Rabbi Shalom Shabazi, I think he would go to his kever very much, and to, let's say, pray over there for, with regards to the Hatzlacha of Am Yisrael, for the Jewish people in general. I believe it's reported over while he was doing all this huge amount of kiruv, he would found a yeshiva in San Juan, and would really ensure that the Talmidim over there would be treated with great care, will be learning pretty much the whole time, will have all the sources, all different books for the Torah, the Mishnah, from Talmud, respectively, and he would, many people will come to him, as we stated before, for advice and for brachot, for blessings, respectively, and much more can be stated within regards to that. And he would also be write amulets also. And I think not just Jewish people come to him asking for advice within regards to different issues. Non-Jewish people also would actually come to him and would actually speak to him on various different matters also. It's reported over, there was huge financial issues all over different parts, but it's reported over that they offered him a salary, but he refused to accept the salary from the community treasury. Now, remember, we've spoken about various different rabbonim, especially from the Sephardi countries, where these great rabbis would not want a salary with regards to, let's just say, studying Torah. They didn't necessarily accept it in many of the countries at that point in time. Now, at one stage, he would actually want to emigrate to the land of Israel. And we know at that stage in time, there was various waves of aliyah, where many people will come from Yemen and will actually make aliyah to Israel. So he'll travel with his family, and I think with the family of his brother at that point in time, Rav Shlomo, and I think en route to Aden. And over there, I think, unfortunately, we've spoken about the anti-Semitism there was at that point in time. It was reported over that the British government arrested various different Jewish people once they reached Aden, respectively, over there, and they were put into questioning. And unfortunately, I think some of his brother's family, if I'm not mistaken, unfortunately suffered from beatings, and I think there was troubles with bandits also, and it really was a horrific time at that point in time, and they really, really did suffer a huge amount, which I would recommend everyone to learn about the history of what actually happened when that wave of Aliyah actually tried to come to Eretz Israel. I would recommend everyone to, that's a topic onto itself. He would not I think initially he would not receive the rights to make Aliyah at that stage in time, and naturally, obviously, was continuing delving in Torah, and I think he had a close connection with Rabbi Abraham and would be appointed as a member of court in Eden at that point in time. He would be situated in Eden for a long period of time and work there as Ab Bet-Din over there. And I think over there was various other different hardships that took place in Eden respectively, and huge amounts of anti-Semitism. And I think along with other rabbis at that stage in time, there was just a lot of issues. So unfortunately, we've spoken about the troubles there was, especially in Yemen at that point in time. But eventually, he would emigrate to Eretz Israel, and I think he would live initially inside the Machaneh of the Atlit over there. And then shortly afterwards, he would actually move to Yehud. This is another village in Yemen, respectively. It was reported over that he would forbid the people, especially in his vicinity, or who writes that people should not, let's say, participate in the elections over there for the Knesset at that point in time, not to, I believe, vote, if I'm not mistaken. I think for not just for the Knesset, for the local municipalities over there, and not even vote for the ultra-Orthodox parties. He was delving in Torah the whole time, and let's just say, his mind was just on the Torah and not on, let's just say, other things surrounding or decorating around this in of itself, just anything connected within regards to Yahadut and Torah in of itself. He, as we said before, he had huge honor when it came towards Shabbat, and I think he would study every Shabbat. It's reported over various teachings of the Rabbi Haim of Chernovitz, I believe, the Ber Maim Chaim, if I'm not mistaken, and he would help within regards to establishing synagogues and various different Torah initiatives in this place. It's actually reported over, he would actually call Yerushalayim by 70 different names over there, but always grieved, like say the Churban Bet HaMikdash. And it's reported over he would only visit Jerusalem once, possibly because of that reason. And I think after his wife passed away, he would at that stage in time, it affected him at a high rate, and he would basically study in house the entire times the teachings of the Kabbalah, and was really, really immersed within regards to writing, making his grandiose library in the house, studying various different books at that point. I think he had thousands of books. It was reported over a huge library in his house, and would really, really teach and learn all throughout the time. Now, I believe towards the end of his life, he suffered from various different hardships, physically, arthritis, and I think there was a pain in his lungs also, and various different other health issues. But nevertheless, he reported over he would immerse himself every single day inside the mikveh, a lot of taniyot, and various different penances also. He loved every single Jew. He would advocate for Judaism in of itself, and would pray. It's reported over, especially during the time period of the Yom Kippur War, it really hurt him very much, and will pray for the, let's say, the safety of Am Yisrael. He had a connection to everyone in Am Yisrael. He felt the pain of Am Yisrael in of itself, and this was something that we should maybe speak about on a bit more. He would meet with various different students all throughout the time period, especially all throughout Israel. Would go to Tel Aviv, for example, and teach and educate people, who write commentaries according to various different books in of itself, especially on the Tractate of Avot, I believe on the ethics of the fathers. And he would give many of his writings, I believe, to students of his, and a lot of various different manuscripts that he had actually written would be discovered after he passed away. Now, I believe he suffered a lot in his last few years of his life, and he passed away, as we said before, just before Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and this was in the year 1979. And I think he passed away, if I'm not mistaken, in the hospital in Petach Tikva, to be precise, I think on 27th of Adar, as we stated just beforehand. He wrote a lot of great Torah books, Also, let's explore some of them. Many. I think he has a grandson, Dr. Gidon Sinwani. I think that would actually bring about and print some of his manuscripts at a later stage. Many of the, I think specifically 5 different Sfarim of his, if I'm not mistaken, including the Makom Mikdash. I believe this was Perush and Torah, the Derech Pardes, the Ateret Tiferet. This was another one. At Rot Chayim, the Arzei Lebanon, which was Likriya Ba'atar Otzah Chochma, and the Torah Chacham, another great book, Zohar Harakia, and this would come out, I think, on his Hilula on Chaf Zayin Adar Tafshin Ayin Vav, if I'm not mistaken. This was separated into 3 sections: a Magid Harakia, which is Biurim and Perushim on the Zohar, respectively, Metukim Midvash Benafot Sufim. Tikunei Zohar, that was in the Kavod Ken, which is Perushim on the Zohar, and there will be 4 books, I think, that will come out from a manuscript originally. It is in the year Tafshin Pei, and I think it would be done through coming out through Rabbi Yeshua Salem, if I'm not mistaken, Goba Doraita. This was Biurim on the different matters with regards to the Poskim, Kishtei Kala, which is Yalkut, Ilchot Nisuin Be'erusin, Amrot, Torot, Perushim al Memrot, Mahamad Gemara, and the Kitzurei Dinim. This was various different expoundations, let's just say, on Diktukim. Remember, various of the great Yemenite rabbis were experts within regards to grammar. There was 9 Chiburim, 9 pamphlets or teachings that came out from manuscript form. Korban Mincha, this was one of them, Shelot Shuvot, with regards to the Chelek section of the Eben Ezra, respectively, the Matzah Chayim, which is Perush on Zaken Aaron, which was a Likutei Dinim Musa Mehozohar, Perush al Kotfilot, Hashana al Pi Hasod. This is another one, the Reach Shemanecha Tovim, Chidushim on the Derech Pardes once again, Leket Shechecha Upeya, the Perush Lemesechet Avot, we stated before that he wrote writings with regards to ethics of the fathers from the Mishnah, and the Piyutim Vishurim, he was a poet. He wrote a lot of different Jewish songs in himself, connecting Judaism to song, like many of the great Yemenites and Sephardi Rabbanim in of itself. And very much, there was very different great works of his that came out, and there's much that can be found out within regards to him. Now he left many great Talmidim also. Let's explore some of them, including Harav Mordechai Shirabi, one of the most famous rabbis we stated about before. He would go on to become the Rosh Yeshiva of Nahar Shalom, famous yeshiva in Jerusalem, which we've spoken about before, in Nachlaot, respectively. He was very close to Rav Mordechai Shirabi. Rav Saadia ben Or, another great rabbi we've spoken about before, a famous Kabbalist also, one of the great rabbis from Teman. Also Rav Chaim Shalom, Rav Uzi Meshulam, a famous rabbi and an activist. With regards to we're not going to speak about it so much on this specific class. It's a whole class onto itself. We know that discrimination and especially that the Yemenites community actually felt, and there was some horrors, a huge stains with regards to the history of, let's just say, since 1948 of the Medinat Yisrael, with regards to, let's just say, some of the kidnapping of the Yemenites babies. But it's a well-known topic that's been even spoken about very much in the Knesset over recent years, and he was an activist with regards to making people aware of what happened and making sure that these corrections were corrected by the people in positions of power. Rabbi Yosef Shlomo Dayan was another one of his Talmidim. He was one of the famous rabbis, one of the famous Kabbalists and we actually spoken about Rav Yosef Shlomo Dayan on a previous video also. One of the hidden tzaddikim, he was actually known as, if I'm not mistaken, Rabbi Yisachar Dov Safrin Mekomarna, another rabbi, Rabbi Yosef Shani, I believe, who was also various different great works. Rabbi Zachariah Chomri was another one of his Talmidim. He was a famous Kabbalist and one of the great rabbis, really knowledgeable. And Rav Shmueli, he happened to be, I believe, the Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Nahar Shalom. I believe his son currently is Rosh Yeshiva there at this stage in time. But he was a very great rabbi. I just want to clarify also, he would go to the Kivrei Tzadikim, especially of when he was living in Yemen and Eden at that stage in time, of Rav Shlomo Shabazi, another great rabbi we've spoken about before. Even barefoot he would go and travel there. Among his rabbis, let's just clarify once again, Rav Shlomo ben Yosef Tabib, Rav Ya'ish Musa Korin, among the great Chachamim. And it's actually reported, much more. I would recommend everyone to learn about him. He was a great makubal of his time. Now, it's actually interesting. His Hilula is here on Chaf Zayin Adar, and many people come, I believe, to celebrate his Hilula here, especially as we speak at the moment. He's known as probably one of the most famous Yemenite rabbis over the last few hundred years, without a doubt. I would recommend everyone to learn much more about him. And just many of the great rabbis, we've spoken about many of the great rabbis he was connected to all throughout. So I would recommend everyone to learn about him, to study about him. Now, he was buried in Israel. I'm not sure actually the place. Now, among his family, he would leave descendants, great descendants also. Let's explore some of the family line within regards to him. He had two sons, I think, Rav Avram and Rav Vadia. Among his daughters was Rabbinit Ora Tsubari, I think she would marry into, if I'm not mistaken, and Yonah, if I'm not mistaken. Among his brothers included Rav Yehuda and Rav Shlomo. I believe his sister's name was Marat Mazal Meshulam, if I'm not mistaken. Now, it's actually interesting. From his father's side, his grandfather was Rav David, happened to be another great rabbi, I believe, in his place, Rav David Sinwani. And so that's very interesting. And I would recommend everyone to learn more about the family tree, the family line within regards to him. And it's his Hilula. Don't forget to light candles in his memory. And friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great Chachamim of yesteryear. We've already covered about nearly 850 great rabbis. If you happen to be related to any of the great Chachamim, please let me know. I would love to hear more within regards to them. And if you actually feel that you're related to any great rabbis or haven't actually spoken about them yet here on this series, please let me know, and I will try and research and do a video. Don't forget to light candles in his memory. And if you feel anyone is interested in watching any of these videos, please share the videos to other people, and please also subscribe to the channel. So wishing you brachot here from the city of Bet Shemesh, where I'm recording this from, and take care of the great Kabbalists of his time, Rabbi Haim Sinwani Z'tl. So wishing you all well, and take care.